We welcome you from the Beckley Studio in Franklin Hall for the Women's Little 500 Preview Show. The preparations for the 31st edition of the women's race are in their final turn, and we have everything you need to know right here. I'm David Sugarman, play-by-play man for the race.
And I'm Courtney Robb, field reporter.
Courtney, it's a stacked field once again. Kappa Alpha Theta looking to defend their title and build on their Little 5 best 7 first-place finishes, but they've got their work cut out for them. This is a deep and talented field.
Without a doubt, David, plenty of teams with the ability to give Theta a run for their money. You see a lot of the usual suspects, DG, AKO, and AOPI, but there are some non-Greek teams to keep an eye out for too. Melanzana, Teeter, both serious contenders to climb to the top of the podium this year.
You mentioned Melanzana. They may have not qualified as well as they wanted to, but they finished 6th in last year in the race, and now they're eyeing a spot on the podium, which begs the question, what is a Melanzana? One
step ahead of you there. We sat down with Melanzana prior to quals to find out the origin of their name.
So, you want me to get it?
You can.
So when our team was created, one of the girls that founded the team had it on a pair of socks. They said Melanzana, and they were coming up with a name, and someone said, that's a cool name.
It's Euro.
Yeah, it's Euro.
Is it a sock company or a clothing company?
It's a clothing.
Yeah.
Outdoor
clothing. An outdoor clothing company in Colorado, but the name Melanzana itself means eggplant in Italian. But technically, we're named after the clothing company.
But our mascot is the eggplant.
We make a lot of eggplant jokes. It runs through all of our group chats and our daily lives. And you can look at our Instagrams. They're all eggplant like innuendos.
So it's part emoji, it's part clothing company, and they certainly seem to be having a fun time with it.
How could they not when they're basically the jack of all trades?
Spring Series did not disappoint this year. Melanzana taking team pursuit, but naturally it was Theta who won Spring Series overall, and because of that, there will be a bit of a twist on race day.
That's right, David. Normally the Spring Series winner wears white, but because Theta is actually the defending champs, they're going to be sporting yellow. And we're not going to see a white jersey this year at the track.
As we take a look at the qual standings, props to them for making it through this unconventional weather. Theta qualified second in what had to be some of the worst quals conditions we have ever seen.
Definitely not ideal weather. We had snow, we had ice, freezing rain. I don't know if there was good weather at the track that day.
No, we essentially had everything under the sun but sun. And a team that braved that weather and took 3rd place in quals is with us in studio today.
Let's go ahead and welcome in Alpha Gamma Delta.
With us in studio today, we have Aaron Adair and Alyssa Todd from Alpha Gamma Delta. Guys, thanks so much for coming in with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So we just showed those brutal quals conditions. You guys can't show up. What is your initial reaction when you see that less than ideal weather?
Sad, cold.
Very cold.
Very cold.
Snowy.
Yeah. So we had a really early qual time before 9 a.m. So the track was still like pretty decent for us, but it was definitely like very sad riding to the track in the rain and
we were able to get there early enough too where we could like steal the bathroom so we could warm up like indoors instead of being out in the freezing cold before our attempt.
Yeah.
And when you left the bathroom, got onto the track, how much did that affect your strategy? Obviously not particularly ideal weather, not the weather hopefully we won't see on race day.
Yeah, I mean, I know, so we left the bathroom and our coach just like threw like mountains of clothing at us. He was like, put all of this on, like stay warm, keep yourself ready to ride. So our muscles were still pretty warm, we were fine, and then
we were just like cautious on the track because
being
of
more safe on the exchanges, a little bit slower. So, which I think you can see the times reflected throughout the field.
Sure.
Now you guys spent winter break in Florida, which has a lot different weather than what you experienced in Indiana in March. Do you think that trip prepared you guys for what's to come in the next few weeks?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't the warmest when we were there, but it was good to train like in the winter months outside because we had been inside for so long. And
I think it really like bonded us as a team. I mean, we all stayed in like basically a room together and there were like 8 of us. So we got real close real fast and just like spent a lot of hours together on the road. So that was really good bonding for our team and like got us ready to kind of put in the work and deal with the stress that comes in the spring semester.
And then you guys rode 400 miles. Comparatively, not much more than what you're riding on actual race day. How was that doing that in a week?
It was a lot of time.
Yeah.
A lot of time on a bike.
We all did our very first century together, which was a struggle. And I mean, it was great. Like, we learned a lot from it and like became much stronger cyclists, I think, that week. But it helps with recovery. I know that's why we do such long rides in the fall and throughout the beginning of the spring, so that in the race, when you come out of the race and you have to go back in, you have the ability to do that.
But then you guys celebrated at Disney World.
Yes, we
Went on
did.
a lot of rides. It's not the worst way to end out a trip.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we had like a rest day in the middle, and so we decided we were so close to Disney, so we all decided to get tickets to Disney, and it was a lot of fun.
It was really fun.
It was a good way to like relieve all of our biking. We were biking so much, so just to have like that day and just relax. And I mean, it was still a workout walking around the park.
Favorite ride?
Oh.
I had never been, so I liked
It was
the
like
whole
the
every ride is
Space
your favorite.
Mountain
Yeah,
one.
exactly.
Isn't that the first one we went on?
Yeah,
Something
Space
like
Mountain.
that.
That was really fun.
That was fun.
I don't know. We watched the fireworks too.
Yeah.
I cried a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. It was
To
pretty
compare to the pomp and circumstance of race day, or?
fun. Oh, race day is better.
Yeah.
I would pick race
100%.
day over Disney every day.
For the people on the outside looking in who may not understand you putting in all this work and commitment year-round for one day in April, what would you say to them, for the people who don't quite understand the work you put in for an hour and a half?
I'd say, I mean, personally, it's not just an hour and a half. Like, the one day is great, race day is great, and obviously with it being a week away, like, we're really looking forward to it, and it's going to be a really fun time. But it's like all of the commitment throughout the year and your teammates that you grow so close with and like the people that you're riding for. I mean, that's why I do it. I think that's why our team does it. We're a really close team, so like competing together and being able to do fall series and spring series and just like experience Bloomington and the cycling community in this like special way is kind of why, like, what keeps us motivated throughout the year.
So it's not just that one day for you, it's the entire year, which
Yeah.
is great because you spend all this time working so hard.
Exactly.
But we just want to thank you so much for coming in and joining us today and wish you the best of luck on race day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Now, we've talked a lot of X's and O's so far, but Courtney, there's more to Little Five than just the strategy of it.
Without a doubt, strategy is a huge part to the race, but every rider has their own reason as to why they take the track. Phi Mu's Emily Mailman is no exception. Everyone wants to win the Little 500, that's for certain. But Emily Mailman hopes to come out of race day with something more.
I hope he's seen like all that I've accomplished and that he's proud of me.
After a 13-year battle with multiple sclerosis, avid cyclist Steve Mailman passed away on a Wednesday in 2003. Emily was just 4 years old.
It's not really supposed to be a disease you die from, but unfortunately my father kind of had the worst end of it, so he ended up passing away from complications of MS.
Years later, she signed up for her first cycling series, one dedicated to the fight against MS.
I had just learned how to ride a bike. I was in 6th grade. I was like 12 or 13 years old. I was like, Mom, we should do this. It sounds kind of cool. And she's like, yeah, Emily. Sure. She didn't think I was going to do it.
Captain of her dance team in high school, biking took a back seat in Mailman's life. But then she came to Indiana University and joined her sorority. That's when she found the Phi Mu bike team.
They came to one of our meetings and kind of talked about bike team, and me and one of my friends sounded interesting, so we were like, yeah, let's do it. Kind of like didn't know what I was getting myself into, ended up really liking it.
Although she didn't race her freshman year, as she continued training that following summer, she also signed up for another bike MS ride.
So it's kind of just like a hodgepodge of people. No one was super close. We got up at like 4 a.m., drove up there at 5. We were like the only people that knew each other. Everyone else was on different teams. But then going through the ride, me and my coach stayed together for the majority of it, and he was kind of just talking about how like this was my day.
Now as race day approaches, Mailman uses the memory of her dad to push her towards the finish line.
So I want to prove myself to my father and show him that like all this work I put in is for something and kind of make him proud.
What a great story, and not to mention Phi Mu qualifying 6th, they'll be in the mix on race day, but it's stories like this that make Little Five so special.
I, for one, will be watching out to see if Mailman delivers on race day.
On the heels of that strong joke, this will be Emily's first year officially riding in the race, and look, everyone starts off as a rookie.
And for those independent teams who are just getting their start and have limited resources, they still find ways to stay competitive, especially during those cold winter months. Reporter Morgan Gard has the story.
When winter comes, riders have a hard time practicing outside. However, they have another option at the SRSC by participating in the Little 500 cycling session.
There's a need for indoor workout options when we're in the winter months and dealing with the shorter days and the colder weather. So we wanted to offer a session to Little Fivers.
The Little 500 cycling session has been around for 12 years, and Ronnie Cox has been there from the start. The session starts in October and lasts till March, giving teams the ability to practice during the colder months.
That we really focus on high cadence riding, which is critical for Little Five since the bikes only have one gear, and we focus a lot on that through the class.
High cadence riding is great for Little 500 riders since it keeps fatigue at bay and trains the rider's neuromuscular system.
The team tries to come here once a week on Tuesdays. We found it really good for rookies, like just getting into it, but like it's also a really nice way to break up winter activities, or else we're just inside doing rollers all day.
Not all teams have bike rooms, rollers, or can go on biking trips during the winter. This is a great way for riders to get some similar riding practice.
Yeah, if you don't have a place to ride indoors, if you don't have bikes, this is a place to get a good workout and to learn workouts that you can recreate on your own.
You constantly get feedback back at the very end, saying that it's helped people improve, and whether they end up doing better than they thought, or they just were able to get out there doing something that they didn't know that they could. We've definitely seen improvements, which is awesome.
Those classes are open to everybody, Courtney. So maybe you and I sometime we could.
Stop you right there. I think there's a reason that we're broadcasting and not riding in the race. If memory serves correctly, you don't know how to ride a bike.
I choose not to. Now, we showed you that image from Quals earlier, and we can only hope for better weather conditions on race day.
In a perfect world, we can expect to see 60, 65 degrees, a little bit of clouds, no wind. That's going to be a huge factor. But a little bit of rain can actually make the track more compact and make it a little bit faster.
Now, we certainly can't predict the weather. We can't predict the winner of this race, but we can predict it's going to be another fun one, Courtney.
Absolutely. And I'm really hoping that we'll have some good weather to follow it. That's going to be our show. Make sure to tune in to the IUSF Facebook Live page on race day for the two of us and Little 500 Hall of Famer, former teeter rider Caitlin Van Kooten. I'm Courtney Robb.
I'm David Sugarman. We'll see you at the track.